I just came from an office downtown, and when I walked outside the building, there was a woman sitting on the, well, like with her back against the edge of the building, crying her eyes out on the phone to some dude and saying, I don't understand how you can do this to me. I've always put up with your shit. How can you treat me like this? Blah, 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 blah. And she was not black, for anybody who wants to immediately jump to that conclusion. That was not the case. um, so what I wanted to do though is, on the heels of the Mary J Blige incident, talk about that, because I'm sure this young lady did not expect for her marriage to blow up in smoke. I'm sure Mary J, same situation. I'm sure most women don't get married with the idea that this is going to be the end and it's going to end badly like this. But I wanted to kind of go over some issues that I've seen. Number one, where you guys focus more on the wedding than you do the person that you're marrying, more the wedding than the marriage. And I also want to discuss how some of you drift into the situation of marriage. It's not really a conscious decision, it's kind of like the next step in what you think should happen after you've been dating the same guy for years and years. So what I want to do is go over some points. I have 12 very important things that you should be looking for before you decide that a man should be your husband. Okay, I want to go over what I think are 12 very important ways to know if a man really wants to marry you. Basically, how you can figure out if the smack he's talking is game or if it's for real. And this is important because a lot of guys, as I indicated on the marriage as a carrot on a stick, guys will use marriage as a hook, as a way to control you. So I think it's very important that you understand the difference, and that you understand what qualities a man is supposed to have and present to you as proof that he is worthy of being your husband. Because these clowns got some shit twisted. They're up there, well, what you bring to the table and all this. You punk bitch motherfucker. Nobody's supposed to be. Woman's got to prove who she is to you. You need to prove who you are to her. That's the way you want to talk about what's in the Bible and all this stuff. It don't say nothing about the wife. It says the man who finds a wife finds a good thing, motherfucker. That's from word from your God. So certainly you want to try to turn it around and to be something else. Get the fuck out of here. So ladies, this is what I think you should be looking for, because I don't want you to end up, in a Mary J situation, or some of these ladies, they got bamboozled by a trickster and a guy who was very insincere. Now, this is not to say that your marriage will last forever and that is divorce proof. Would never say that, because shit happens. But if you go into it with a defective man and who doesn't have the real true qualities of a husband, the likelihood of your marriage going up in smoke is very high. So by eliminating as much of those risks as possible and choosing smartly, you will have a much higher likelihood of your marriage going a distance. Okay, so number one, he's ready, willing, able, and makes himself available to you. Now, to me, this is so basic, but I swear I see women all the time talking about, well, I don't know where he is, or, he don't be calling me back, and, this and that. And they be chasing the dude down, and yet they still have in their mind that this guy, they have a future with him. You don't have shit with him. He don't even need to be in the scene. Now, if a man is ready, willing, and able, and he makes himself available, he's going to behave in a certain way. When you call, he's going to answer. If you text, he's going to respond back within just a few minutes, if not immediately. He also includes you in his life. He includes you in his plan. He tells you what he thinks. He includes you in his activities. He includes you in his hobbies and his interests. Basically, it's like he can't get enough of you. He lets everybody know that you his woman, that you two are a couple. He introduces you that way. None of this vague, oh, this my friend, or this is so-and-so, with no kind of clause. He just says your name. Okay, that's another warning. When he's, ready and interested, he'll hold your hand and kiss you in front of other people, even his parents. It won't matter to him. What matters to him is you. He wants you to be with him. He wants to see you. He wants to hear your voice. He'll call just to hear your voice. He'll want to be around you all the time, even if you're not doing anything special. Just sit there just looking at you or being on the couch with you or laying his head in your lap watching TV. He wants your presence around him. Okay, a lot of them, they want to come over to your house all the time, or they want you to come to his place all the time, damn near every night. A lot of them also will have pictures of you everywhere. These days, people like to keep pictures on their phone. That's fine too. But, usually he'll have a picture of you like on his desk, on his computer. Um, there's some place where he can see it even if he's not on his phone. And that way other people can see it as well. Okay, that's number one. Number two, your communication with him is open and it's honest and it's responsible. That means he watches what the fuck he says to you. He'll tell you the truth, even if he might be a little bit scared because he's going to be a little nervous about your reaction. He's not going to know how you take it. Will take it rather. But that doesn't mean that he's going to lie to you or leave out important information that he knows that you need to know. Everything that you really would need to know about him, like his past and his dreams, about his life, his goals, his health, his money, his family, his dog. I mean, everything about him is on the table. He wants you to know how he feels about you without you ever having to ask. Excuse me. You feel very respected, regarding your thoughts and your opinions because he really listens to you. He takes what you say seriously. He will never put you down. He'll never call you names. He'll never say anything that makes your confidence in him or the relationship be shaken. Questions coming up and trying to figure out how he really feels. He's very careful to make sure that doesn't happen because he wants you to feel safe and secure. Now, what they'll also do is make themselves vulnerable to you because he's going to tell you stuff that he may say, I've never told anybody this, or stuff, that really hurt him, or stuff that really, some very, really sad part of his childhood or something like that. I mean, this one guy I was dating, he broke down and was telling me about when he was in foster care and how he and two other little boys that were in the foster home with him got sexually abused by the foster father. And he cried, it was horrible. I just felt so bad for him because he's really a really super sweet dude. But he had some problems, he really had some problems connecting with people on that level. And that was a close moment for us, but he never could really get anywhere past that. So we eventually broke up. But, when he guy's vulnerable, he'll talk to you about pretty much anything. And like I said, even embarrassing stuff, because he'll let his guard down. Sometimes it's a bit of an overshare. They'll still like, honey, I got this pimple on my butt. Can you look at it for me? And stuff, what is this? Yeah. But, if you've been married, you understand that. But, you got to deal with it. It's part of keeping the door open so he feels like he can tell you anything. You definitely want to keep that door open, okay? So put your big girl panties on and just deal with it. Listen to it. If you need to get all upset and grossed out or whatever, do that later. But while he's talking, you listen. Number 3, he has his own money. He has his own spot to live that's nicely furnished and in a nice area where it's safe for you to come and go. And he has transportation of his own that's appropriate for his age and station in life. Now, that's kind of a long one. I kind of mushed a whole bunch of stuff in there together, but it has to do with how he positions himself and his material possessions. They must be in sync with his age and status in life. Now, if you have a man that's living with his mama, he's living with his sister, he's living with his grandmama, he's in the basement room, he's sleeping on folks' couches here and there because he don't really have an address of his own, or he's a bum and he's frequently borrowing your car, he don't have no driver's license because it got snatched away for his DUIs, or driving without insurance, tickets he didn't pay, all that kind of stuff. Any of those things like that, that's not husband material. Y'all want to be helping these men. Oh, well, I helped him. I let him drive my car. Let him do that. No. That is a bum. You do not help him. That's somebody who's instead of worrying about some pussy, he needs to be over there getting his shit together. And then I got to ask you, what the fuck are you even messing around with somebody like that for? He's a loser. Get rid of his ass until he gets his shit together. Number 4, he's husband material when you and your relationship with him is a priority. Okay, he's going to treat you with respect everywhere he goes and all the time. This is very important because you know a lot of these dudes, they want to make jokes, right, at your expense. They want to get you in a crowd of people and they want to make these little jokes that hurt your feelings and make other people laugh at you, and he thinks that shit's funny. That's emotional abuse. So you have a guy who does stuff like that, or he makes these little cryptic comments to try to put you down or compare you negatively to other people. Okay, that's, don't marry him, because it's just going to get worse. You think the shit, something you can get over, it'll change after you get married. No, it won't. If it changes, it's going to get worse. You want a man who's ready to be a husband that expresses himself with thoughtfulness, consideration, who's generous. Even if you out with other people or alone, he's generous with his time and energy. He makes sure that you're taken care of. He's going to get you an extra drink. He's going to call the waiter over. He's going to ask you, is your food right? He's going to pull your chair in, pull your chair out, help you on with your coat. And he'll put you ahead of his his boys, his video games, his TV shows, and even his damn mama. If you need him, he's there for you. It's not the kind of thing where you be put on the back burner while he does something else for other people. You are important. I remember some years ago I was invited to speak at this men's group in Oakland, and I will never forget it. I don't know, it's probably about 20 dudes there, and some of them were pretty young, had never been married. A couple of them were, more middle-aged and had been divorced. But a lot of these guys had like a super negative attitude, and it was so off-putting that I didn't even really want to be sitting close to them because their negative energy was just exuding from their pores. But I remember the older dude whose house we were at, and we met the downstairs. He had converted it into an office for his business, so you could come through the side of his house and do business, and then go back out. So he never went upstairs, to where his wife and kids were. So he was saying how his wife was so important to him that if she hollered his name from upstairs, he would immediately stop what he was doing and go and see what was wrong, what she needed from him. You should have seen them young dudes' faces and the nasty things they said to that man. Like, what you do that for? She just talking shit, blah, 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 and all this negative stuff. And the brother was just looking, first he looked shocked, and I was shocked too, because it's like, how dare you say that to this man about his wife in his house? But, their whole attitude was that she should just wait, because whatever he was doing was more important. And this guy was like, no, that is my wife. She has been my wife for 28 years. And she knows that this is my workspace. If I'm down here, I'm working. So if my wife calls me, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go see what the fuck is going on with my wife. Because, this couple was getting older. I mean, at the time, he was probably in his late 50s then. I mean, she could have had a heart attack, a stroke. She could have cut herself. I mean, anything could have happened where she needs him for emergency situation. And he just would blow her off and sit there fumbling with some papers and just ignore her like that. So he was trying to show the young brothers how you treat your woman and your relationship as a priority and with respect. And they just didn't get it. They just didn't get it. And they didn't want to get it. So this is an example. You would not, as a woman, want to wear that out. But you do want a man who understands that he needs to be there for you. And sure, it's having fun. Being with your friends is fun, and male bonding is very important. I get all that, but they should never be a priority over him being there for you to cheer you on and support and encourage you, because you're the woman that he claims to love. He needs to show it, not just be talking it. Okay. Number 5. His words and his actions make you feel safe, secure, supported, and loved. Okay, now this is where, a lot of guys lose it because they have a bad temper. So they want to be yelling and threatening you, with violence, or punching shit and throwing shit, or threatening to end the relationship if you don't do what he wants you to do. All that kind of stuff. See, that's not a husband. That's somebody who wants to be a dictator, not a partner. You want a dude who's going to encourage you to be your best self. Like if you have talents and abilities, he's going to encourage you to work with those and to bring those out. He wants you to be healthy, so he's going to encourage health building behaviors and habits, but he's going to stop short of judging and condemning you. For example, say you want to be, you're trying to lose some weight. Okay, well, he's like, well, honey, I'll walk with you after dinner, or, let's go to the gym together, or, whatever. He's going to offer his support. Okay, but one day you slip up and you just it's right before the period comes and you got to have some chocolate and some sweets and you shoved a Snickers bar down your face. Now, all women have been there. I mean, it's just something about that time of the month. You crave chocolate and sweets, and you just got to have it, and that's just the end of that. That's just how it is. Well, he's going to understand that. He's not going to say nothing. He's going to be like, okay, well, I understand. But don't expect him to buy you a Snickers, okay? Now, that's crossing the line. But he's not going to, be beating you over the head talking about how you set yourself back and blah, 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 because you ate a Snickers bar, okay? He's going to be kind about it. He's going to be encouraging. And these kind of dudes who's a husband will never belittle your dreams or your accomplishments. I've seen guys do that, like, that ain't shit, blah, 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 to their wife. And it's like, oh my God, how could you talk to her like that? When you have a good husband, he's going to always have your back. He's going to side with you against anybody who tries to attack you. So like these husbands, these women be married to that, he lets his mother and his sisters and stuff talk about his wife and dog his wife out. See, divorce immediately, because he need to be married to his mom and his sisters, and that's where he needs to be, over there, and he need to be fucking them too. Don't touch me and get the fuck out of my face. You think that they're so grand and wonderful, go on over there. See, loyalty is important, and a man who does stuff like that is showing that he's very disloyal. So you want to have someone who's got your back. You want to be important to him. What you say is important to him, and who is important to you is important to him, and what's important to you is important to him, okay? Because you guys are a team. That's how he sees you. If he does not see you as a team, then you have a problem. Number 6, he takes that 1970s movie phrase, love is never having to say you're sorry, very seriously. Remember that movie with Ryan O'Neal and Ally McGraw? What was it called? Love Story, I think. Classic. It's a classic movie. And it's like, of course you're going to have to say you're sorry at some point, because everybody's going to make a mistake. But what you have with a guy who's really a good husband is, if he does do something that upsets you, he's going to apologize, and it will be genuine, and it will be profuse. He's going to try to understand what he did that got on, that got you upset or that hurt you. And then he's going to ask you, what is it that you want to see him do or not do or whatever. I mean, he wants clarity. He's trying to understand, where he went wrong, so he doesn't do that again, if at all possible. Because his goal is, for you to be happy, not to be upset and angry at him. He's going to be like, if we got a problem, let's work it out. He's got what, excuse me, what I call his grown man on. Okay, gosh, I'm just me and these allergies, I'm telling you. Okay, he's going to make meeting his family and friends a priority. Sometimes they do it because they want to show you off. They're like, look what I got, ha, 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 ha. And sometimes it's to get their buy-in, to get their approval on their choice. He wants to let them know that he's serious about you. Now, I admit sometimes this is game, so you have to be careful about the timing and how he does it. Okay, that's very important too. If he does it like, right away, well, they know women put a lot of stock in that meet the family stuff. But, you've been going out with him for less than a week, 2 weeks, less than a month, whatever, and he drags you around meeting his family, well, that's kind of suspect. Usually they kind of want to hold off and make sure it's going to be something before they start involving their relatives. Yeah, so, and watch how he introduces you too. If he says, this is my girl, and he gives you a hug and a kiss, this is the love of my life, this is my baby, something like that, well, then that's good. But if he just says, oh, this is my friend so-and-so, or, this is Sabrina, some kind of really vague, some distant shit, then that him meeting his family and friends, that just was nothing. Okay, number 8, he looks only at you. Now, I got this phrase from the Korean dramas that I started watching a few months ago. Very often the guys, the girl will be confused about, whether she wants to get with dude or not, and he be putting her through changes or whatever, and so, he'll be like, letting her know that he only sees her, or he'll tell the woman, just only look at me or something like that. But basically what that's translated means is that I only have eyes for you which means I'm not checking to see who's better or who's different or whatever, because I'm thrilled with you and you're the one for me. That's basically what that means. So if you have doubts or you have um, actual proof that he's dealing with other people, or he's telling you the only one but he's cheating, or whatever is the situation, he done got some bitch pregnant, something like that, then you know that he's definitely not husband material, and that's somebody that you should not move forward with. Number 9, he's consistent in the relationship and certain that you are the one that he wants. Now, this is important because people can talk it, but you need consistency. Consistency over time is what proves that he is what he says he is, and that his plans are what he says they are, and that he's doing what he said he was going to do. You want to see that, not hanging back, expressing his doubts, disappearing here and there, dilly-dallying, canceling dates, expressing that things are moving too fast, or he's still, not over his ex, or, any stupid shit like that. Anything that causes you any kind of doubts or confusion, that is a problem, and he's not being consistent then. Because you shouldn't have to ask your man where this is going or what we're doing, because how he's acting should be showing you. A lot of you still want to hear it with words, and I guess that's okay. But I keep telling you, stop listening to men and watch what they do. Watch what they do, and you will see how he feels about you. If you just pay fucking attention to what he does and how he does it, you don't need to ever ask a man where this is going or how he feels about you. Not really. Now, I think it's important for me to point out too, some dudes move slower than others. Some dudes are just like, the older a guy is, the more likely he is to move quicker, because maybe he's been married and divorced before, he's been around the block like 19 times. He knows what he wants, he knows when it's a good fit, and he's gonna be, like, look, the clock's ticking, I only got 25, 30 more years, I'm not really trying to be wasting it, fucking around being stupid, so let's do this. Okay, he's gonna be a little bit more quick on the gun than a dude, in his early 20s, fresh out of college, just getting himself established or whatever. I mean, he needs a little bit more time. So keep that in mind as well. But what you will see though, even if the dude is moving slowly, he's moving steadily in one direction, and that's towards you. Okay? Any detours, maneuvers, circles, about face, donuts, whatever he does that, stops in his tracks and reverses direction or anything like that, that's not husband material. Not yet. Yeah, whether you wait for him to be, that's going to be your decision. I can't make that decision for you. But I'm just telling you, don't make plans to do with a dude who's behaving like that. Don't make plans to marry him. You'll be sorry. Number 10, this is very important. Now, we're getting into the good stuff now. He invests in the future, and you're a key component of his plans. Now, what does this mean? It basically means that he's financially independent, that he's financially stable. He's not struggling, borrowing from you or other people. Now, if he's doing it, that, he's having financial difficulties, that doesn't mean that he's a bad person, but it does mean that he's not ready and he can't afford to have a wife and a family. Not right now. And the man who is ready will share his very concrete plans, and his very concrete plans will include you in them as a central component. Nothing that he's doing is a me plan, it's a we plan. Okay, because he might be like, well, I'm gonna go to medical school, and then we are gonna have this, and we are gonna be that, and we are gonna live here, and you see what I'm saying? But even though he may have some obligation and responsibilities tied to it, everything that he's doing that for is part of the plan that includes you. So you got to listen carefully when he starts talking about what his plans are for the future. Now, these guys, even if you're not living together or whatever, I mean, he's going to make a big purchase or something like that. He's going to seek your buy-in. And he's going to do it voluntarily without you asking or demanding or hinting around. And I'll tell you, like, before I got married, he had been married before, so he had this, the bed that he used to have with his wife, and I refused to sleep in it. So he would come to my house. So then he's like, well, I think I'm gonna get a new bed. I'm like, motherfucker, I know you are if you want me to spend the night. But I didn't say that. I just thought it. But I smiled sweetly. I said, "Oh, that's a good idea. That's nice. Where, what you? Well, they having a sale this weekend, so I'm gonna come pick you up on Saturday. We gonna go try out the mattresses, and then we'll pick the one that you like." That was his response. That's how he got me to spend the weekend at his house, because he knew I was not laying in the bed that bitch had laid in. That's not was no, wasn't gonna happen. So, but see, and then later, after we got married, that was the mattress that we used, and then we got rid of mine. But it was, he included me in the buy-in. So, as well as he repainted his room, I mean, he did everything. So, I think it's very important that women understand that, because, he's also very responsible with his money, and he should be saving it for a reason that includes you. This came up the other day in a comment under the Mary J Blige video. This young lady made a comment that, let me see, what did she say? She just had to get rid of a Jamaican dude that she was dating. He was a Leo. And she said he knew that she inherited a home from her aunt, and he had the nerve to ask her to co-sign on an apartment for him, and also want her to co-sign on a $50,000 semi-truck. And after she told him no, then she became the ugly bitch, fat single mom that nobody wants. Whereas before that, he was, talking about marriage, and that he would pay all the bills if they got married, and he was just feeling her out. He was asking questions, and trying to peep into her wallet and bank account, what financial resources she had, and how he was going to pimp her out of $100,000 worth of shit. And she luckily was smart enough to tell him no. But see, that's a sign that he didn't have his financial shit together. There's no way a man should be coming to a woman, especially one he's not even married to or related to, and asking her for anything. That was just foul on so many levels. And there was nothing that he was doing, nothing that he was driving, the credit he exhibited, nothing that he had done that would make her really believe a word that he had to say, at least from my perspective. What proof did he have? He was just talking shit. And, did he show you a bank book? I mean, the account? I mean, what? But he just talking all this smack about what he woulda, shoulda, coulda, and not really doing anything. Didn't have no resources at all. He's trying to get hers. So, nah, nigga, nah. But luckily she was too smart for him. Okay, so then, so that's number 10. Number 11, he talks about marriage in very concrete terms. Now, a lot of guys will be like, oh, I'm thinking about getting married someday, marriage, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he might be thinking, I'm not saying he's not, but there's nothing about that you should bank on. He just daydreaming out loud. He just talking to himself. He could be talking about, the latest episode of The Simpsons. It would have just as much meaning to you. Okay, you don't put any stock in that. Now, you got to understand, though, just because a man's talking about marriage, it doesn't necessarily mean the talk that he's having is going to be all good. He might be talking about his parents' divorce and how it impacted him as a child or teen. He might be talking about some people at his job who got a divorce or whatever. He may have some real horror stories that he's heard about marriage and divorce. So they would give him reason to pause. But the smart guy doesn't base his life on what happened with other people, because he's not those people. You aren't that woman. He's not that man. And the two of you are not going to have that situation. So when you see a man who bases his life on what happened to some other dude, that man is a fucking coward. And he's just looking for an excuse. And then, but again, marriage, any kind of relationship these days, it takes courage. It takes courage to fucking live. So if he's already got all these excuses why it won't work and how he's going to suffer and it's going to be miserable and all this stuff, leave that motherfucker alone, because that's a pessimist, he's a loser, and there's nothing you can really do with him, because you have to go into marriage expecting it to work and expecting each of you to give your all to and committed to seeing it work. Okay, but if one of you is already going in with a negative attitude, it has no chance. It got like a snowball chance in hell to really make it, because one person would be doing all the work while the other person was waiting for it to fail. So no, don't even waste your time. So, but a guy though who's talking about marriage in concrete terms, he might discuss some of those issues, but he's going to also talk about what his plans are to do things differently to make them successful. What books has he read? What conferences has he gone to? What websites does he follow that talk about being a good husband? I mean, is he like I mean, maybe some religious guidance. I don't, people who have different religions, whatever. Then maybe he's getting some guidance from that source. Maybe he knows some couples who did have a very successful marriage and he seeks guidance from those men. As a matter of fact, I remember when I used to do my TV show here in Oakland, I did a show where I interviewed couples who had all been married for 25 years or more. It was very revealing. All of them expressed that they had different little times where they weren't sure they was going to make it, but their commitment to the marriage is what saved them. And one of the guys said, and he had been married for 40 years and was going to take a little more than 40 years, getting ready to have his 50th anniversary, really, because he got married like at 18. And he was getting ready to take his wife, his kids, and his grandkids on a 1 week cruise. I mean, dude was a baller. And that's how, he had bought property when it was real cheap. And then, the real estate market here in California exploded. So dude was like a bazillionaire. So he was taking everybody on this trip, all expenses paid, and to celebrate his 50th wedding anniversary. And I said, my God, how did you do it? And he's like, my wife does everything for our family, and I do everything for her. And I just kind of looked at him because, see, these are white folks. And, no black man is going to say some shit like that. So I just looked, I didn't tell him that though, but I'm just looking at him. I said, okay, well, how did you arrive at that being, the methodology that you used? He said, well, he used to work at Lawrence Livermore Labs. And he's like, I would come in from work and I would grab a beer and I would sit down on the couch. And then, I'm watching the news or whatever. My wife would say, honey, I need you to do this or that. And he said, I would put my beer down, I would get up, and I would do this or that. And when I finished doing this or that, I would go and sit back down and wait for the next command. And he said, that's what I've done my entire years of my marriage. It's worked fine. My wife is happy. My children are happy and successful. And everything in my household has always run smoothly because I'm always responsive to my wife's needs. And when he put it that way, it seemed so simple. But for some reason, so many brothers just don't get it. They want to have their egos all wrapped up in it. Nah, she didn't submit to me. Man, and all this stuff. And it's just so stupid. It's like, this is a man who has a happy wife, happy kids, that are all successful. He's rich as all get out. And that's how he does with his wife. And it seems to really work well. And every time he came, to the gym where I would see him, he always, his wife would iron his shorts. He was like the crispest man up in the gym. And he always looked like he was going on a cruise or some shit. Instead of coming to work out, it was always amazing to me. But he was always smiling. And every time I saw her, she was always smiling right with him. So, they were a very happy couple, and I wish them much success. So that is what I have to say about that. Okay, this talking about marriage, not a wedding. He's going to give you details. He's going to talk about building a life together and creating a legacy. And, his actions are going to back up his words. Because, you ladies need to understand that boyfriends will evolve spiritually into husbands before they actually become one. He's going to start acting like your husband. He's going to start treating you like you're his wife before you actually get married. That doesn't happen by magic, just walking down the aisle. The mentality and the feelings are already there, okay? And then the last one is he prepares a spot for you to build a nest. Now, this is very important, especially talking about having children. The process when a woman is pregnant and she starts, preparing the baby's room and rearranging furniture and doing all that stuff, they call it nesting. And it's a very, very real behavior pattern that exists in pregnant women. It's the most amazing thing. She's going to be cleaning and scrubbing shit and sanitizing shit and wanting shit painted and fixed and all this stuff, right? Men, it drives them crazy. But she wants the home to be perfect and clean and nice before she brings her infant into it. She wants to prepare a nest. And a man recognizing that will give her a safe and comfortable place to nest. So he's going to get in, if he already has a house, he's going to fix it in a way where he makes room for her and all her stuff. Or he's going to go out and he's going to get a house or an apartment that's large enough for you and your stuff and him and his stuff. he's not going to be moving in with you, because men, true men, don't move in with women. That's a parasite. That's a bitch ass man. Male. I mean, he's not even a man. He's got a pimp mentality. So, what comes along with him moving into your spot is the attitude that you was already paying all the bills before you moved in there. So he doesn't really feel like he needs to contribute anything. He don't need to pay, any of the bills, because you already handled it before he got there. So he's going to keep his money in his pocket. I can't tell you how many women that's happened to. The dudes don't contribute shit. They don't even want to have buy groceries. So that is a mistake. If he can't put you in a place where you can prepare a nest for the children that he wants to have, then you don't move, because he's not husband material. All right? You have to remember that this guy that you want to call a husband, there's just certain behaviors that men who are husbands exhibit, and there are certain behaviors that men who have no intention of being a good husband, who are not qualified to be a good husband, who have no clue how to be a good husband, will demonstrate. I hope that this list that I've just shown you demonstrates. A man who is a considerate, thoughtful, caring, loving, and supportive boyfriend will be a thoughtful, considerate, caring, loving, and supportive fiance, who will then morph into a caring, loving, responsible, considerate, and thoughtful husband. That's the kind of guy that you want. If he's expressing any kind of doubts, you don't want him. If he makes you cry, you don't want him. Any tears that you shed in a relationship with a man should be tears of joy, not tears of unhappiness or sorrow. That means that you're with the wrong dude, and that means that he's really not husband material. If he says anything about you signing on to struggle with him, he's not prepared. He needs help. He tells anything about MGTOW or going his own way, or that he makes any reference to in his friends that are in committed relationships, loving women and being married, and he refers to them as simps or fools or anything like that. That is a guy that if you have marriage on your mind, I mean, of course, not everyone wants to get married, but if that is a goal for you in your life, and you want to have your children within the confines of a marital union due to your religious beliefs, or your, just whatever it is that you think. I mean, it's your world, so that's what you deserve to have. But if you're with a guy who does not meet the 12 criteria that I set out above, and you've been dating him for more than 6 months, I must ask you why you're wasting your time. I mean, none of us are children here. I mean, most of the people who come to this channel are at least in their mid-20s and up. That seems to be the demographic that I hit the most, 25 to 45. So these are mature adults. These are women of marriageable age. So if you are a single lady and you're in that category, I'm going to assume that you're not just dating around just to be screwing around. You're looking for something serious. You want a husband. So take heed to what I'm saying. And remember, what the most important part is, you have every right to get the man that you want. You have every right to be treated the way that you want. And if the guy that you're with is not bringing it, he's not delivering it on that level, then you need to cut him loose. This is Deb Cooper for survivingdating.com. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Now that you've seen some of the grade A content that's offered on the Debsterism channel by advice columnist and author Deborah Cooper, please become a subscriber. Just click the subscribe button below, then click the little bell symbol that you'll see. By doing that, you'll be sent notifications directly to your cell phone right after new content is uploaded, so you can be one of the very first people to see the new videos and to comment on them. So please like, please subscribe, please comment, and please share a link and tell a friend. You can do all those things. I'll love you.